Hello everybody, this is ASMR, and I was not planning to make a video today. However, I was looking through the paper earlier and I discovered one of those really super detailed drawings, and I just thought to myself, I have to make a video with this. This is a stressful week, and if I can help you guys relax, I want to. So we're going to use this pointer to go over this super detailed drawing. And it's kind of high. As you can see, it extends an entire page. It was taken from the New York Times, and it's intended to be colored in. So as you can see, it's actually from today. New York Times, Sunday, March 22nd, 2020, and of course there's cat hair on it because I have 3 cats. And it says, "Get out your crayons. Coloring for cooped up readers. Have fun." So the intention behind this is basically like an adult coloring book for adults to take this and color this in. I don't have time to do that because I technically shouldn't even be making this video. I should be working on some online classes I'm teaching this week, and on a short play I'm trying to finish, and on my visual art. But I thought, why not go through this with you guys? I mean, why not, right? So I'm going to start from the bottom, and we are going to go through this entire portrait. Let me scan out a little bit. Okay. So this is the board. These are the borders around it. So from here to here, this is the whole picture. So we're just going to start at one side and just go completely through it. So, let me try to scan it a little bit. The first thing we notice here is a street, and there's a manhole cover. There is a soda can that looks like it's badly dented. And then if we move over, there is a lady walking, and she looks kind of frazzled, and she is wearing a doctor's uniform. And I guess she's walking from a local hospital, and she's probably been working a very long shift, given everything that's happening in the world. She has her stethoscope and her badge. As she's walking down the street, she encounters... There is a plastic bag here, and we're actually not allowed to sell those anymore. In New York City or Long Island, no longer any sales of plastic bags, so it's just a straight plastic bag. And then there's a crosswalk here, and then there's 2 things here. I don't know whether they're supposed to be bricks or whether they're supposed to be some sort of container or carton, but either way, there's a mouse there, or a rat, I guess, if it's supposed to be New York City, and a rat here. And they are in these little cartons searching for food. And then here we have a trash bin, and it's full of papers and bottles. So that's the first thing. And then if we come up here to the first row of stores, the first one next to the trash bin, well, extending up from the trash bin, we're going to be paying more attention to this later, but extending up from the trash bin is a street sign. So there's like a big street light here. That's what's extending upwards, and it's actually behind the trash can. So we're going to be focusing on that later. I'm sorry if you can hear like what sounds like screaming in the background. I have 3 parakeets, and for some reason, they're not supposed to be, but for some reason they are nocturnal, and they think it's hilarious to start screaming at like 9 o'clock at night, and they just keep going till like after midnight. And I'm filming this video kind of early for me. It's only 10:45 here, so the screaming in the background are the 3 parakeets. And my father is actually still awake, and he's watching like old westerns, old John Wayne movies. And for some reason, the birds love old westerns. When like the shooting starts, they just go crazy. Like, they love westerns and war movies and stuff, because whenever we're watching anything that has like a lot of shooting in it, they go crazy. So I don't know why that is. They like TV shows with a lot of shooting, and they also like the vacuum cleaner. So they're very cute, but a little deranged. I'll have to introduce you guys to them at some point. But yeah, so that's why if you hear screaming and squawking, it's just the birds are getting overly excited. So anyway, this storage closed. He's got this metal grate. I don't know what the term for these metal grates are. They're not awnings, but like they're metal grates. You see them in the city, where storekeepers will just like pull the metal grate down when the store is shut, just to prevent anybody from breaking the windows. And it's got a little sign up. There is no writing on the sign. It's literally just like a little sign with just like the suggestion of a note that I guess to say closed until further notice. So on the other side of the store, there is a delivery man, and he's delivering food to this person who has abstract art on his windows, or stained glass, which is really kind of cool. And he is delivering food to this guy in a plastic bag, which is a no-no, but the smiley face on the plastic bag actually has a face mask on, which I thought was a funny little feature. So as you can see, social distancing. The delivery man is actually giving the guy the food, and the guy is also wearing a mask, and he's handing up the food on like a rod, so they're not touching each other or going anywhere near each other. And the food's being delivered, and this is what I assume is delivery man's bicycle, parked right there. He got off and he's giving this guy the food. I don't know how they're going to exchange the money. I guess they'll figure that out as they go along. And this is another door that's just shut with a grate on. And then the neighbors here, it looks like their door is closed. They also have a notice on the door. And if you look up, there are raccoons. A mommy raccoon and a baby raccoon. And the mommy raccoon has a little donut in her mouth, which is really cute. And then the last storefront on this floor, this bottom floor, it just says closed. It's just a very ominous black door. You don't even see a door handle or anything. And it just says closed. It's got a little window above it. And then there's a window here with an awning, and again another notice on it. And I guess they're just closed. Now, the rest of the building, basically the way that a lot of stores go in, or the way a lot of buildings go in New York, or at least in the city, in Manhattan, the ground floor will be stores, and then the top floor will be apartments. So there's a lot more action going on at the higher floors here. So, sorry if this is kind of busy, but let's move this up and try to focus on the floor. So, the people above the store that's closed, we have this lady, and she is stocking her shelves. As you can see, she's come home. She has a huge bag of groceries, and she is just stocking up her fridge. And it looks like she has jars in there. She has milk cartons. She has a salad. She has another shopping bag by her feet. Her cabinet up here is full, and there's even a little mouse here that's helping her. And I think that's such a cute little feature. Meanwhile, her neighbor, his tummy hurts, as you can see. So his stomach is either hurting because he is hungry, which I'm assuming is the case because his cupboards and his fridge are completely bare. He has not done any shopping, or his stomach is hurting because he may in fact have a flu, and that would be very bad for him. Now, over here, in the house above the raccoons, this is a very strange scene. So basically here you have Elmo, a naked cowboy, or a half-naked cowboy, Spider-Man, and Minnie Mouse all in a house watching TV. And it says, "I love New York," and they're watching the television screen. Now, for people outside of New York looking at this, it might just look like one of those like bizarre, weird, cartoony panels. This is actually an inside joke with a lot of New Yorkers, because basically on Broadway in the Times Square area, we have a lot of performers that come out. There's a naked cowboy, and then you get these guys that are dressed up as like Elmo and Minnie Mouse and Spider-Man. And they basically hang around Broadway and try to get tourists to take pictures with them. And it's like tourists will snap a picture with them and then they'll demand like $20. And it's not legal. And the police have been trying to crack down on them for a while. And we had this really bizarre story in the paper a couple of years ago where a guy in an Elmo costume actually got arrested because he was cursing a tourist. He basically was a man who was a little off mentally, and he basically wound up on Broadway in an Elmo costume. And when people weren't paying him or he got annoyed with the tourists, he would start screaming at them. And he was removed by the police. But that little panel there is like an inside joke to New Yorkers. So then over here, in the apartment above the man who has getting the food delivered, we have an old man who is just going completely berserk. He is hitting the ceiling with a spatula. He is screaming some very, very choice words, as you can see indicated by the symbols, the money symbol and the hashtag or number symbol, and the @ symbol, and the percentage symbol, and the exclamation point. So he's beating the ceiling with a spatula, he's screaming his head off, and the reason he's flipping out is because the kids upstairs are having a dance party. As you can see, you have these 3 young people, and they have a disco ball on, and they're just partying it up. And I have to say, even though the neighbor is really annoyed and angry, I give them serious kudos, because in a time like this, if you're not feeling sick and you're stuck in the house, why not party, right? Why not put on some music and just jam? And then the thing I find really funny about this is that the grumpy old man's wife, and you can tell it's his wife because the furniture is exactly the same, and she's just sitting there with her cat, her cute little cat, and she's just watching TV, and she is not letting his rage or the people next door bother her at all. She is just doing her thing with her cat, and I just give serious props to that lady. And then upstairs here, you have one of the more bizarre scenes. You have a man sitting with a horse, and it looks like they are both either smoking pipes or have like big feathers in their hair or in their hats. And it looks like they're reading a book about horses and carriages. And I guess this may be an ode to the horse and carriage companies that ride through Central Park. But I just think it's so cool that like the guy's just sitting there chilling with his horse, not paying any attention to the people partying next door. It's just not bothering him. And then down here above the clothes shop is probably one of the strangest scenes in this whole thing. It's King Kong. It's just King Kong hanging out here, blowing smoke, and it looks like he has a little lizard friend, maybe like a miniaturized Godzilla. And he's just hanging out, and I just think that that's so cool. It's like the most bizarre scene on this, definitely on this floor, and probably one of the most bizarre scenes on this whole painting, this whole illustration rather, but he's just hanging out. Oh, and then up here on the street sign, it just says 1 way, street, no standing. These are pretty standard street signs for New York. And then you can't actually see the light. It goes off the page, but that's what that is. Anyway, up above the Godzilla house, you see this mother, and she's standing in a doorway screaming, and her toddler looks like she was attempting to finger paint, but instead of getting the paint on the piece of paper that they laid on the floor, she's got the paint all over her feet and the carpet, all over herself. The dog is helping her, and it looks like she's got the paint all over the dog, all over the bed, and it looks like the parents' bed. It doesn't look like her bedroom. It looks like it's her mom and dad's room. And the poor mom is just going, oh no, oh no. And I teach art classes. I've taught art classes to every age range. Like the youngest kid I ever taught was like 2 years old, and the oldest person I ever taught was actually this lady who was over 100 years old. And I can tell you right now, anybody that has ever taught art to preschool age children will totally understand the scene, because kids that small and paint do not mix. They enjoy painting, but it's not fun to clean up. And then next door to this lady with the budding artist is the guy in the horse, and the kids having the dance party, and the neighbor flipping out. And then over here, you have the characters. So we pretty much covered this whole floor. Oh, but we also have here, it looks like there's a gym, or there's these two people that have just decided that despite the gyms being closed, that they're just going to have an in-home gym. So this guy just is like doing a handstand, and this guy is just swinging around a pole in his socks and a hat, and he's just having a good time. And the pigeons above them are very safety conscious. She just got this pigeon chilling on a windowsill with a hand sanitizer. They're getting increasingly difficult to find. Another pigeon up here flying away. And then this house here, the shades are kind of messed up and the house is dark, but there's looks like a pair of eyes looking at the pigeons. We have 1, 2, 3 pigeons. And I hope the pair of eyes is looking at the pigeons adoringly and not angrily, because I personally love pigeons and I don't like it when people mess with them. And then in here we have a scene of this poor family who are eating dinner, and the mom and the dad are just so freaked out about the virus that they have the face mask on, but the child has been spared the face mask. I don't know why that is. I guess because they're trying to eat, or maybe, you know, maybe the kid's a little bratty, a little annoying, and they just kind of figure, you know, hey, if he gets sick, it's not necessarily the saddest thing. You know, maybe they've just decided they're just not into the whole parenting thing, and that's why they're protecting themselves and not their child. But anyway, they have a really weird picture here of cheese. It looks like they're eating a chicken or turkey, and the mother's partaking in some alcohol, it looks like, a wine glass. And the dad's eating a carrot on a fork, and he's just got a cup here. Maybe he's drinking too. Maybe that's beer or a shot glass. And there's a light up here. And the kid is just sitting at the table, reaching out towards the turkey like a savage. He has not even been given any silverware. Maybe when they give him silverware, he just throws it everywhere, so they just don't give him any. So that's what's going on there. And then over here, it looks like we have an opera going on. So it looks like there's almost like a rendition of Hamilton going on in this house. You have the guy all dressed up, and he's singing, or the girl in the fancy dress, and she's raised her hand up. You have this guy who is waving, it looks like, to a crowd that's not there, and they're throwing flowers. And it looks like they're recording this entire thing, and are probably going to put it on YouTube. But I mean, hey, if you have a small cast of people, and you can't do a performance, you know, obviously in a crowded space, why not do it in your apartment? So kudos to them for making a YouTube video. And then over here, this poor lady can't catch a break. Her child is messing up the whole house with paint, and her upstairs neighbors are just going to play a basketball game. So it looks like they're just sitting in the house. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. Most of them are wearing face masks, and they are just going to play a basketball game in their apartment right over her house. So she's pretty much just having, you know, the absolute worst week of her life. You know, she's stuck in quarantine, her kid's messing up the house, the dog is being no help, and then the upstairs neighbors decide to play basketball. Her only saving grace is that at least these neighbors are being nice and quiet. It could be worse. She could be right next door to these people who are in the dance party. So anyway, above the basketball players, we have one of the funniest scenes on this entire drawing. You have the Statue of Liberty wearing a face mask, desperately washing down her windows, and she's got the Windex bottle here and the cleaner, and she's just pushing aside the curtains and just frantically scrubbing. Now obviously this is not the real Statue of Liberty, which is a statue, but it's somebody dressed as the Statue of Liberty. So perhaps it's a co-worker of where are they? A co-worker of these guys here who are dressed up as Spider-Man and the Singing Cowboy and Elmo and Minnie Mouse. And this person just couldn't stand being in that apartment with them anymore, so they came up here to scrub this apartment. And their next door neighbor is a man with many, many cats. And he's got his laptop here. He's got tissues everywhere. He's sneezing. I hope he's just sneezing from allergies and not the virus. But he shares his home with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cats at least. And believe me, I understand. I'm well on my way. I have 3 cats. But it's all so cute. And then in the apartment next door, we have this lady, and she's just chilling out doing yoga. There's another lady sleeping. There is a dog barking, but nobody's paying any attention to the dog that's barking. There's another guy doing yoga over here, and a third person doing yoga. So they just have their whole yoga studio going on. They're just being really relaxed and zen throughout the whole thing. And then up in the rafters here, you have some birds. You have the pigeons, and they built a nest. And in this nest, there are little babies. 1, 2, 3, and they call baby pigeon squeakers. So you got 3 cute little squeakers. And then here you have some eggs. What's going on there? And then, oh dear, here we go. Her neighbor is the crazy person who was going to the store and bought all the toilet paper. You know, he's just sitting on his couch, and look at all the toilet paper he has ordered. So, I don't know why he bought all the toilet paper. I don't know why people are buying all the toilet paper, why they think that's going to cure everything. But he has gone ahead. He has bought every bit of toilet paper that he can possibly find. And now he's just sitting in his house wondering what he is going to do with all of it. Maybe he's planning to sell it at jacked up prices, which I'm pretty sure is illegal, so he could get in trouble for doing that. So, I don't know. But he looks like he's just having a bit of a conscience attack there. And even his apartment building is starting to fall apart. There's a hole in the wall up here, and there's a little mouse looking down at him. The mouse probably has more sense than he does. Oh, and then over here we have this is the house with the pigeons and the other pigeons flying away. And then up here next to Toilet Paper Man, we have a little kid, and he is standing on a sink, and he's standing on a stool at the sink, looking at himself in the mirror, and he's vigorously washing his hands, and he's singing the happy birthday song twice, because that is what is recommended you do to make sure all the germs are off your hands. And I have started doing this myself, so I give props to this kid. Whenever I come home, I immediately wash my hands. And then his poor neighbor, this guy, see the umbrella in his house? He looks really, really sad and worried, and he's got like hot dog and pretzel sign here, and he's got his condiments. So he's obviously a food seller who is too afraid to go outside and sell his food. So he's probably feeling the economic fallout from this. Luckily, he cannot be evicted. New York State or New York City anyway, just enacted a law basically stating that until this is over, nobody can get evicted, which is really good because nobody should be worried about money at a time like this when there's already so much to worry about. Now, their upstairs neighbors are just freaks. They're either into some really like freaky sort of online dating, or they're doing some sort of weird YouTube video. I don't know, but he's dressed as an apple, she's dressed as a pear, and they are Skyping with each other. And he's just got these really cool like beads hanging down from his ceiling, and she's got this nice little dainty looking curtain, and she's just blowing him kisses, and he just looks like he's just eating it up. But I have no idea why they're dressed like that or what they're into. But honestly, like in New York, especially in the city, people really don't ask questions. You just kind of let your freak flag fly. So then next to this very odd scene, this building kind of ends, and then this building over here, we're going to explore that in a minute. But basically, these two buildings, like Toilet Paper Man's building and the building with the cute pigeons, they're lower than this building. So you basically have these two roof areas right here. So in one roof area, you have this guy who looks like he's just had a complete breakdown. Like this guy has just snapped all together, and he has assembled some plastic containers, and he's turned them over, and he looks like he is going to drum up there on the roof to make music for his neighbors. I don't know how much the neighbors appreciate that. I mean, hey, maybe they're steel drums and people like the music, or maybe he's just making more of a noise. He doesn't seem to be bothering her too much. She's sitting in this beautiful rooftop garden, which is becoming more and more popular here, which is awesome, because the more greenery, the better. And she just looks like she's just sitting up there, and she's starting to fall asleep. So she's either heavily sedated, or she has her earphones in and just is droning him out. Or maybe she likes the music. Who knows? So what's going on there? And in the apartment here, this is the crazy building, basically, because the upstairs neighbors of the Catman and the Statue of Liberty, and people right next door to her, is this couple here who are both doing very strange things. So there is this man, and he's sitting on a toilet on the laptop. You know, he's got his business suit on, but no pants on. You can see his boxers there. And it looks like he's just conducting a business meeting while locked in the bathroom for some very strange reason. And then even stranger, you have this woman, and she's sitting in a bathtub, and she's fully clothed, and the water's on, and she is yet either on a laptop or watching something on her phone, which she really shouldn't be doing in the water. So I think this is another one. I think that she and he have both gone a little kooky. Yeah. If this was a Batman novel, I think these two would be, a graphic novel, I think these two would be well on their way to Arkham. So I'm going to say about that. Now, up here on the roof of their building, you have this lady who's walking a dog, and the dog is peeing, he's relieving himself, and it's just falling down past the street sign, and it looks like it is at least going to land in the garbage. That's one good thing we can say for this, that at least she's being sanitary. These people are watching this, and they look just utterly horrified. One man is in a face mask, actually two men are in a face mask, and they're just looking at this like, oh my goodness, what is she doing? They have her waving a white flag out the window, it looks like. Although I really don't know who you're going to surrender to, because I don't think that the virus is going to respond to white flags. And then this is a water tower, an old-fashioned water tower. And then here we have a guy who is, he's hanging from a rope. He's on top of this building. He's come down through the rope. And he is spray painting "Hang in There." So even though graffiti is illegal, for the most part, at least he's graffitiing a nice message, a message of hope. And then we just like back to the roof. Now, for some reason, in the building behind him, we have giant food products. There's like an oversized spaghetti, an oversized can of beans, or this oversized can of tomatoes. And I don't know whether this is supposed to be an advertisement or some sort of art project, because the real food would never be that big. So I can't really explain that. And this here is a bridge, and it could be a lot of different bridges in New York, but it looks like the Brooklyn Bridge, which is like the most famous bridge. And then you've got all this pigeon on top of the bridge, and lots of pigeons flying around. And then you see here 1, 2, 3 toilet paper rolls come flying down, because a helicopter has flown in, and there's a lady who is attached to a rope that's attached to the helicopter, and she's throwing toilet paper down to people, as if on a rescue mission. Because I guess, because he purchased all the toilet paper, they now have to come in and help people get toilet paper that don't have it. And maybe that's why he's so nervous, because maybe they're I don't know, sent by the FBI or something, and he knows, oh my god, they're coming to get me for taking all the toilet paper. Who knows? And over here, on top of this building, with the two people who are engaging in the interesting conversation, we have a beautiful garden. Look at the plants and the flowers. And these look like Christmas trees, evergreens. And the details on this building are actually really pretty. And we have a lady in this garden, and she's holding her hand out to a butterfly, and there's another butterfly here, and more birds. And then up here in the building behind her, there's an artist, and here she is painting a portrait of what looks like a spaceman. Or maybe they're not painting. Maybe they could also be holding a bowl of popcorn, and they might be watching a movie on the roof, which is something that people occasionally do in the city, in Brooklyn and that. But anyway, the other thing that I wanted to mention, look at the top of the page. This whole thing looks like a blind. And then if you look at it from far away, it looks like we're in a building. See? It's literally designed to look like we are looking out of a window, as if we're part of this group. We're part of this scene, and we're looking out our window. And this is everything that we're seeing from our window. So I just thought that that was really, really cool. And it encourages people to color. So I hope you guys liked that. That was a very impromptu video. I was really not expecting to make any video today at all, but when I saw this in the paper, I thought, you know what, I have to cut it out, and we have to go through this, because it's just so detailed, and there's so many scenes here that are just so funny and strange and memorable, and I just thought that you guys might really enjoy that, because you seem to like a lot of the detailed drawing examination videos too. Alright, so once again, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I really hope you're doing well. I know that a lot is going on in the world right now, but I hope that you're all staying well, and thank you for checking out my videos, and I will do my best to make another video fairly soon, but otherwise, I just hope that you hang in there, and have a really good